Hi, welcome. My name is Angelique, and today I'm talking about the moon in Leo for astrology. And we're going to look at how to really understand this placement, what it means for inner child healing, emotional healing. So, if it's your first time listening, I've been a student of astrology for over 30 years, and I have a background in mental health, counseling, psychology. So I really like to dig deep into the psyche, our thoughts, our behaviors, patterns, and astrology gives us a really good way to do that, even though astrology can also be used for prediction and looking at the future. We can also use to look at who we are at a personality level, but not even just that. We can use it to look at our physicality, our health, our patterns, even our speech. So astrology is a really good way to use for your life, for personal growth, to find any hidden strengths, and also some remedies to overcome challenges. So I bring in mythology, symbolism, also working with the four elements to really bring this information down from the heavens and ground it and find what we can see, any advice, any guidance that can be practical in a way. So, Moon and Leo, interesting placement. This is definitely yin and yang. The moon energy, which I'll go into a little later, is more of that intuitive, slow moving, emotional planet. But Leo is ruled by the sun. And so that's that yang energy. It's fiery, it's impulsive, it's direct, it's action oriented. So when you have these two together, there's an interesting dynamic that unfolds because it's so passionate and direct, but the moon doesn't like to be direct. And so I'll just start with the mythology a little bit. I'm going to look at the emotional side of this placement in Leo, and through that is the Roman god Sol. If you want to learn a little bit more about the Sun and Leo, I have a Sun and Leo episode that talks more about the personality of this Roman god and how we can relate it to astrology. But today I'm only really going to focus on the emotional side, so we're not here all day. I could talk about it forever, but I won't do that to you. So Leo, as it relates to the sun, like I said, the sun is not a planet, so we don't have a direct god that's named for it like a lot of the other planets in astrology. So, but Sol, I think, is a nice tie because Roman mythology is where most of the planets are named from. And so I'm going to continue that. Sol is the sibling of Luna, and Luna rules the moon, but also the sign of Cancer. So we have a nice duality here. We have the sun and the moon, day and night, all of those different symbolisms. Symbolisms? We can pluralize it, I think. Yeah, let's pluralize it. So Sol was the brother, and he, in Roman mythology, we know him to be youthful, to be radiant, but also to be very direct and action oriented. We can't get anything done on Earth really without a good amount of sunlight. When we lack a lot of sunlight, it can be really hard for us as humans, but also growing anything. So the emotions that come up that we would ascribe to this god Sol, because of that young and radiant and direct energy, would be confidence. We also can see the emotions of joy, of feeling happy, also excited, but also because that very direct energy of needing to shine and be seen, because just like the sun, there can also be jealousy because of a feeling of pride that Sol has. You're feeling proud when you are confident and direct, but if you are not able to get that same, say, attention, especially if it's positive attention, if you're not able to get that when we relate this to the sun god, when we relate this to the sign of Leo, feelings can be easily hurt. Almost, I would say, on par with something like a water sign in the moon placement. Leo is a very, very sensitive place because of that that high need to feel seen, to shine. But when emotions are given a very intense, passionate, bold energy and quality, they're not always as receptive. Most of us humans, if someone is coming in and they're feeling very proud and confident, and we see that immensely in their emotions, depending on the other person, they might not take that well. They might want to avoid it or critique it. And so then we have somebody who might not feel as confident, actually might be more hurt or get jealous easily if they are not able to get this emotional connection and attention from people. So we have yin and yang. So it's not super comfortable here because they are natural opposites, day and night. The fire energy of Leo wants to be seen, wants to move directly and quickly. But with emotions being ruled by the moon, they want to be more indirect, to be softer, to be more intuitive. So being bold and maybe even brash coming into this placement of Leo with the moon can make it difficult to get what you want, especially if it's revolving around emotions. So you might get a lot of resistance or even conflict with other people, interpersonal relationships, because it can be more challenging to use emotions effectively in, I guess we'll say, like a typical society setting or a traditional setting. So for an example, someone with moon in Leo might do really well in a position where they're a leader at some point, a teacher, a doctor, a singer, a coach, entrepreneur, because they get to control things and have other people defer to them. But if they have to work in a more team-oriented setting or a setting, something like school, that might be challenging because their emotions might be bigger and might not be as softer. In a school setting, there could be trouble that comes up. There could be reprimands. It could also repel a lot of people who don't want that type of emotional energy. So the biggest thing for Leo in this moon placement is they want connection, especially emotional connection. They want to feel seen, but they also want to feel wanted. And so this can backfire a lot with this placement because only maybe a select few or not as many people are going to immediately react to you positively. Obviously, this is going to depend on a lot of factors, the rest of your natal chart, where you grew up, your culture, anything. But as it relates to our childhood and our emotions, this can be a trickier spot. So it can be really great for shining and performing and leading. But anything that requires more soft approach or an intuitive approach or being quieter could struggle. So as I said before, the fire element of Leo gets dampened here because the moon is a water element. So that bold and boisterous, happy, proud, radiant energy gets muted and kind of dampened often in this placement. And so it's kind of finding new pathways, new routines, activities to kind of build that confidence up. The confidence can really be it could be harder to bring back up in a placement like this because you can be easily hurt. So now the early childhood. The moon is the place in the natal chart that we find childhood, childbirth, mother, but also can be parenting too, anything in the early childhood environment. So someone with moon in Leo as a child could have felt it difficult to really shine or to be in the spotlight in some way. So this could look like you are just the middle child. There's a lot of children around. Very often I meet people with Leo moon. They're not the only child. And so this can be really difficult, or the parents might have been really busy working all the time. It might have been difficult to make friends or close friends. So they're just in the early childhood, the desire to feel loved and valued and given a lot of positive attention, positive reinforcement might have been lacking. There's also a possibility that a child with a Leo moon could have been on the other side of unfairness or seen a lot of things that were unfair. They could have also been critiqued a lot from teachers, parents, siblings, to that the way that they emoted was wrong or too big or inappropriate. So that might have dimmed their light too. So when we see this, someone with a Leo moon might grow up to not feel very confident at all, especially in close friendships or relationships. They might, at one point or another, feel uncomfortable putting themselves out there. And if this is the case, sometimes person with moon and Leo might grow up to be a little more bossy, controlling, or jealous. And a lot of that could be as a result of not getting that praise, an opportunity to really shine in adulthood, to really feel loved and cared for, or to have more situations that felt fair. And so these are just general examples. It's going to depend and be different for everybody. But just as a snapshot, overall, Leo moon people can grow up to be very not confident, especially when it relates to expressing their emotions. So a few ways to help heal this would be being in the sun as much as possible. You can get a recharge and a cleanse for your emotions, especially if you've been feeling down or having more negative emotions. Being around in the sun is as much as you can really be great for you. Or moving to warm climates, going to warm climates where the sun is maybe out and heating us up a little more. Something else that could really help heal this placement, this inner child, is creative self-expression. So anything where you can really be bold and express yourself and feeling comfortable can help to repair this. So that could be singing, acting. This could even just be you're in a position where you have to take charge and you have to lead and do it in a creative way. So that's why teaching is real, especially young children, because you get to be playful and creative and get that spotlight. You also might really be able to heal inner child when you have Leo moon, is to have some kind of predictability in social settings that can help to make you feel that things are maybe fair and you know what to expect, and you can feel safer coming out of your shell, expressing yourself. So a lot of tender loving care is going to really help people with this placement grow and come into what is being a leader and being confident and expressing yourself. So close family and friends, spending a lot of time with them, but also finding people that give you this attention, that let you shine, that want you to be seen and allow you to express yourself to your fullest without negative repercussions or punishment or avoidance or just ignoring. So you want people that are going to have having a close circle of people that give you that that positive interest and positive reinforcement for when you're expressing yourself. So either somebody that is also expressive in how they talk, or they like listening to you talk, or they just like you have a bond. So the strongest message here is don't hide your light, don't hide your emotions when you have this placement. Try to figure out a way that you can be yourself in spaces that either reward that or they're safe spaces, especially close family and friends. So it's going to take some time to figure out for some people, but there's lots of different avenues and clubs and activities that where you can express yourself and to help repair this and feel comfortable with how you express yourself in your emotions. All right. That's Leo Moon. Thank you so much for listening. If this resonated for you, you can leave a comment. It would be great to share and see how this shows up for you. But otherwise, thank you again and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.